Great. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Thursday, April 16, a year of our Lord 20 and 26. My Cordaro Jeweler's watch tells me it's 9:10. On the nose. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America. I can prove it. We're placing everything right in this crazy planet of ours. It's also the place for the brave. Like the veterans we salute today, thanks to our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Like William Legg, Pittston, Robert Hughes, Kingston, Robert Bob Furede, Hazleton, and William Callahan of Dallas. Veterans we lost this year but celebrate today, thanks to John. The United States of America, founded with the knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not be, could not be, cannot, and never shall be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things. Because power to government always means less freedom, less liberty, and less choice for Americans. Our founding fathers knew government power, because of human nature, should only be necessary evil designed to protect an organized society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials, because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, no matter how they abuse it. Now, because they were armed with these freedoms, and only because of that fact, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. And it was no coincidence. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and yes, reliably right. And so, with that essential preamble dispensed with, we gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. A gentle warning, this is not a safe harbor for stupidity. It will be roundly and, dare I say, harshly attacked throughout the program. We will not suffer fools gladly, and their foolishness and ignorance, willful or otherwise, will be called out with intent, purpose, and vigor, designed, and in this day and age, sadly necessary, to save our great republic from evil, senselessness, and weakness, which can bring this noble and successful experiment down if we do not honor our obligations and aggressively oppose it. And for most of us, it just means voting. That's all it means. Vote every time as if this amazing country depended upon it. And I'm telling you, we just had it proven in Lackawanna County. Just proven. So sick brain, Boy King Billy Gaughan proposes this anti-ICE measure that we won't cooperate, we won't this, we won't do that. Okay. Tom Welby gets elected over Chet Murley. pure just Democrat vote, okay? And Tom Welby, nice guy, good guy. I liked him for a long time. But he's a Democrat. And here's what has happened to the Democrat Party. They are vulnerable to the sickest, most obscene, and most left-wing influences in their party, like Bill Gaughan, like Mayor Cognetti. And he caved. He caved to the Democrat left, and they passed ICE legislation. Now, everybody with a brain knows. Tom Welby knows. He did this out of complete and utter weakness and folding to the Democrat left. Everybody knows that if you don't allow ICE to share information and your police to share information and all of that with ICE, then illegal immigrants are going to have to be chased down on the street. But see, you've got to remember, and then you have fools like Welby who fall for it. This is what the sickos like Gaughan want. They want ICE on the streets so they could cause problems. Maybe one of them will get killed, like in Minnesota. This is their sick plan. And remember what underlies it all. The idiots like Gaughan don't even understand that they need bodies for the census so they don't lose seats, particularly in the U.S. Congress, but also in state legislatures. Because poorly run left-wing lunatic cities like Scranton and Lackawanna County are losing population, and they need bodies to make up for it. And this is what we have. And so, being a Democrat, and I talked about it before the election, I said I like him, good guy, but he's going to cave. And he did. He caved to the most lunatic wing of their party. And thanks to Chris Chermak for standing up. It's pure insanity. Again, they want them out. They want to force ICE to go in packs instead of one or two picking a guy up at a prison. They want them to go out onto the streets, into houses, into businesses, so they can say, see, and hopefully in their pea brains, someone will get hurt or killed. And then they win their sick point. And all through this, nobody cares on the left in the Democrat Party if somebody gets hurt. Nobody cares, and you've seen it around the country. Nobody cares if somebody gets maimed, killed, raped, or in an accident with an illegal immigrant. Nobody cares. None of the Democrats care. They don't care about people at all. It's irrelevant. Their agenda trumps everything. And that's what they do. And now it's happened in Lackawanna County. I'm telling you, these people, and now that they control the Luzerne County Council, remember, with hundreds of thousands of dollars of outside money that elected people you don't know, by the way. Just leftist operatives. This is all coordinated. It's all funded by billionaire American haters. Billions of dollars from Singham, Soros, Arabella. These aren't conspiracies. It's proven. This is not a guess. And here we are in Lackawanna County, disgraced by the two Democrat commissioners. Tom Welby collapsing like a wet noodle to some paid and lunatic advocates and activists. And now they hope, their fondest hope, is that someone gets hurt when ICE does an operation out in the open instead of merely picking somebody up in prison. Or getting a tip from local law enforcement. I hope and pray local law enforcement, our district attorney in Lackawanna County, and our sheriff do the right thing. They've collapsed. I see it. They were opposed to Gaughan's measure. They know the insanity of it. Yet, silence. We'll see. We will see. A disgrace. Absolute. Tom Welby, you've disgraced yourself. Horribly. And you know how you know that? If you're voting with Bill Gaughan, you've disgraced yourself. You've become a left-wing lunatic stooge. And the people of Lackawanna County have to live with it. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Murph tells us on this date, 1964, Dean Martin recorded this hit, Everybody Loves Somebody, at United Recording Studios, Hollywood, California. The song was written, he's got a lot of info on this one. The song was written in 1947 by Sam Coslow. So this is 17 years later, Dean did it. Irving Taylor and pianist Ken Lane. It was released on Reprise Records June of 1964. It went on to become the #1 hit and knocked the Beatles' Hard Day's Night out of the top spot. How about that? Way to go, Dean. And before that, of course, President Abraham Lincoln ending slavery in the District of Columbia. This is before the Emancipation Proclamation. Bob Cordaro back with all of you. Let's go right to the blower. We got Judy from German. Hi, Judy.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. I have been doing some research, believe it or not, on the library system in Lackawanna County. I am still in the process, but what I'm finding, it has alarmed me, and I hope it allows everybody that's listening to be alarmed. I went to the library. First of all, I got an email from somebody I didn't know with a picture of the LGBTQ display at her library. And she wondered what she should do about it. Well, I have never seen a display like that at the library. So I went to look, and of course it wasn't there. But as I started researching, I have a friend in Alabama who had the same problem with the LGBTQ, and they formed a group called Clean Up Alabama. And they did research on books. They sent me a list of 80 books that were LGBTQ or sex-oriented books for children and youth.
There's the important distinction. I could care less if they're adult-only books.
Exactly.
Fine.
They are not.
Okay.
I went to the library and I asked for a book appropriate for a 5-year-old so that I could read to him regarding sex, etc. I was given a book called The Bare Naked Book. And you can imagine what's inside that book. It's cute little sayings, we all are different, et cetera, et cetera. But then halfway through the book, you find nude children, drawings of nude children, and the different body parts. And this is how boys are different, and this is how girls are different. And some girls have nipples, and some boys have. Where are your nipples? I mean, it's soft porn, in my opinion, and that's in the children's section. And I was told this is appropriate for a 5-year-old. I'm sorry, I disagree with that. And
well, I found when they have a place where they sell books in the marketplace at Steamtown,
right?
And it's really pretty useful. But they were selling the 1619 Project, putting it out front as though it was legitimate history.
Yep, I saw that. Yes.
So it's not the first instance where Lackawanna County's library has gone astray.
What my goal is not to ban these books, however. My goal is to put these books in the adult section for parental consent. Now, I have another book that I've checked out of the library. It's called It's Perfectly Normal. And it is geared for 8 to 17-year-olds. 8 to 17. And it talks about all the different ways that people have sex. What is an orgasm? I mean, an 8-year-old? Come on. You're talking about common sense. I don't know where it went when it came to the Library Association. I don't know. I'm still trying to find out who's in charge of buying the books. This particular book has been around as a textbook for 10 years. Now, I will give the library credit. This is an adult-only parental consent. It's put on the parent shelf. It's called, and it's marked with a red dot, so we know that it's, you need parental consent. But still, geared for 8 to 17-year-olds. And we wonder why the kids are so confused about anything these days. I'm livid. I am absolutely livid.
Well, I'm happy you
that
brought
these
this.
things are available.
I'm happy you brought this to our attention, Judy. Keep us apprised. Keep us apprised. I appreciate it.
I will do that as I learn more. You will have to hear about me ranting because I will.
No. This is important. See, this is the insidious nature of the left.
Yes.
And then what happens is people say, well, it's not so bad, or it's not this, or it's not that. And it continues
normal.
And it gets worse.
Yes. I want every parent that's listening, every grandparent that's listening, every great-grandparent that's listening, to check your library, because we have June coming, and that's known as Pride Month. So all these books are going to be on display in your library. I would almost guarantee it. And I don't want the books banned. I don't want to break. But
Judy, we have to go, dear. Thank you for bringing this to our attention and keep us apprised.
I will call again.
Great.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Lackawanna County Library. Well, just after Lackawanna County voted for ICE. This is what Democrat control gets you sooner or later. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you proudly by our man, John Basiliga. Today we feature one of his great companies. Says it's the weekend already. I can't believe it. Basiliga Hospitality. 3 amazing bar restaurants, and I mean that. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. Queen City Tavern, Downtown Oliphant. Your jaw will drop when you walk in. The Far Street Tavern, reimagined neighborhood institution in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. Fine dining, you know it. A Terra 519. I'll be all over that place this weekend. Downtown Scranton and the Stegmeyer Mansion bring you to another era to enjoy the best in fine dining. And guess what? Sergei's, the nightclub's open. No cover tonight. You got to check it out. I don't care. Even if you're an old fogey like me, you have to check it out. And I've enjoyed it every time I've been there. William Legg. He was 75. We lost him March 28. He was from Pittston. Bill was born in Scranton, spent his childhood in Avoca, and graduated from Pittston Area High School, class of 69. Upon graduation, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, serving proudly as a corporal during the Vietnam War. Upon his discharge and return home, he married the love of his life, Gail Romanowski Legg. They then settled in Pittston. Bill continued in the Marine Corps Reserve, continuing to serve all of us, achieving the rank of sergeant. He was there till 1985. He was employed as a machinist at Maine Tool and Machine Duryea, one of these great hidden businesses in Northeast PA. He was working for his beloved late uncle, Butch Colburn. He ended his working career as a painter at Tomahan Army Depot, retiring in 2013. Bill was preceded in death by his beloved wife, Gail, his parents, surviving his son, Billy, his granddaughter, and many other family members. Bill was an avid outdoorsman, competing in fishing tournaments with his son. In later years, he enjoyed meeting up with his fellow vets for coffee and dinner. The whole family wanted to thank the VA for great care provided to our veteran this hour, Bill Legg. All that brought to you by John Basiliga and the great Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by our friends at the Montage Mountain Resort, where they're swinging into spring. Today, very warm, less humid, though, with sun through high clouds. I thought they were all high. High of 89. Wow. Tonight, an evening thunderstorm, low of 61. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and warm. A shower cannot be ruled out. It'll be 76 or so, low of 53. Saturday, clouds followed by a brightening sky, remaining very warm, high 82, low 49. So they've stuck with their, I know Snedeker said it was going to be a little cooler Saturday. They're sticking with it at AccuWeather. Sunday, on and off rain and drizzle in the morning, otherwise mostly cloudy and cooler, becoming breezy in the afternoon, only 54 degrees, low of 33. Monday, here's where it gets, Monday, brisk and chilly with sun and some clouds, high 48, low 26. 73 degrees at Montage Mountain Resort, who brings you the weather and who live and breathe weather. Montage Mountain Resort. Yeah, after the end of that forecast, we need ourselves a little Tina Morocco. She's global sales advisor at Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. I saw the office. I was drooling at the properties. Tina, I took a picture right in front of it last weekend. Well, she is your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. And here she is, our sunshine, Tina Morocco. How are you, Tina?
I'm doing well, Bob. How are you?
You're great. You got to Far Street Tavern last night, huh?
I sure did. It was great.
Don't you love that? Oh, I love that place.
I had the shrimp tacos. They were good.
Ooh. I can't be drooling during the show, so stop now. Well, Tina, what's on your mind today? You're in Northeast Pennsylvania, hanging out for a couple of days. You're heading back soon, but you're heading back as soon as it turns into the 40-degree weather.
I can't take that weather. I can't, honestly. When I heard 29, I was like, no.
You brought the sunshine back to Northeast PA, and you're taking it with you. That's not right.
Yeah, well, it's actually warmer here in Scranton today than it is in Naples, believe it or not. So it's, it's something. Spring in Scranton.
So tell us, what's on your mind today?
Yeah, so I was thinking, we talk a lot about restaurants in Southwest Florida, but today I want to talk about cooking and what we do in Florida that's a little different, in Southwest Florida at least. Did you know in Southwest Florida, gas is very rare to cook with? So almost all of our communities are electric, not gas.
Really? Huh.
And so, I think a lot of people, not just from Pennsylvania, but New York, New Jersey, they're all, kind of puzzled by that. And if gas is something, when you're looking for a house, if gas is something that you're really, that you really want as part of your kitchen, then you need to connect with your agent, and because we can certainly find you homes like that, but they're not the norm here. So
that is interesting to know, and a lot of people think about that.
Definitely. So, but then I was thinking about this, and we were talking about it the other day, and Italian markets. I was thinking, obviously we can't compete with Northeast PA in Southwest Florida. We don't have the markets like that, but we do have some really good ones. In Fort Myers, there's Mario's. And if you like to cook and like to make Italian food, Mario's is really a great place to stop at. And then in St. Petersburg, Mazzaro's, if you haven't been there, that is an amazing Italian market, a restaurant. They have gifts. Oh, it's a great place.
Well, and then there's the other big one. And what's the one in Naples?
The one in Naples, Ambrosi and Sons, is a big one. And then there's Mercato Italiano. There's DeRomo's in Bonita Springs. In Cape Coral, there's Stella Marie's. We got a lot of them, but I would say I'm partial to the Northeast PA ones.
Me too. You got Sabatel's, Catalano's, Doma's. Yeah, come on.
Definitely.
It's what is. Well, Tina, that's an important thing. People don't think about that. I always tell them why they've got to talk to Tina Morocco, because those are the little things you don't think about that the local knowledge, a trusted advisor will tell you that may or may not matter, but at least you'll know.
Yeah, definitely. And, we do have some new communities going in that are gas. And it's fun to design your kitchen. So connect with me too if you're interested in, that type of thing, new construction, designing a kitchen. It's, that's a lot of fun. But yeah, if you're a cook and you like gas, make sure you contact your agent before you start looking.
All right. Well, that's the advice, and good advice from Tina Morocco, Sotheby's International, Naples. You could reach her through Sotheby's or go to Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. Excellent. Thank you. I hope I see you later today.
Sounds good.
All right,
Take care.
Tina. She knows the deal. Love her. We'll take a break. We'll be back. That's the Hollies. Murph says this date, 1965, they started their first U.S. tour in New York City at the Paramount Theater, Brooklyn. They had recently released their hit, Just One Look, which you're hearing now, and it was charting in the U.S. This date, 1965. Bob Cordaro back with you on WILK. So much to talk about, but I want to get to calls here because we've got guests the next half hour. And let's hear from Mike in Bloomsburg. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Bob. You know what? I want to say I'm good, but I'm going to say how discouraged I am by hearing your little talk on the Electoral College and how shocked I am by what one of your former callers there called Judy, I think her name was, that talked about what she's finding in our middle school libraries. But
by the way, I want one statement on this ICE idiocy by Gaughan and Welby in Lackawanna County. The district attorney, Brian Gallagher, made a statement saying that even though there was no 287, meaning mandating or facilitating cooperation with ICE, his detectives would continue to cooperate with local, state, and federal law enforcement. So the county commissioners, as the idiots, cannot control the district attorney. Unfortunately, they can control the jail.
I would think working with the federal agencies to try to keep America safe would be a number one priority, and it shouldn't even be open for debate.
Remember what I said, Mike, and I know you know this. They want chaos on the streets. They want people to get hurt and killed. They want it to be unsafe. That's what they want, the left. They're sick.
You know, Bob, the problem with that statement is it's twofold. One, it sounds crazy, but number two, it's true.
Yep.
That's the problem. Now, the Electoral College, I was completely shocked by the number of people that, like engineers that I know, doctors, PhDs, that had no idea how the Electoral College worked, okay? Now, is that a problem in itself? Maybe not if we have a government and parties that we can trust. But we do not have that. So it's important that people understand how the Electoral College works. Because the bottom line is, just as you said, bringing in 10 or 20 million illegal aliens was done on purpose because these blue cities and blue states were bleeding people to the lower tax states because, they retired and they decided we've had enough, or the crime was too much and they just decided to leave. And what they had to do was bring in a replacement population. They had to bring in bodies that they could use to get the population up so they would not lose electoral votes that are used in electing the president. And furthermore, it was to their benefit because then if they're not working, they go on all the different benefits and they get more money pushed into those states.
Disgrace.
From the federal government.
The Democrat Party is a complete, sickening disgrace they know their policies don't work except for them. Mike, I got to take another call. Donald from Pittston, we got about a minute, my man.
Okay, 5 years ago, unbelievable when you hear this. 5 years ago, I put out an ad on your show, Gold Media, pro-federal workers, a goodwill ad. God bless our Capitol Police, Tobahan Army Depot, congratulations. These self-serving hypocrites, Gaughan and Wilby, what's wrong with ICE? Oh, they're federal workers making good paying jobs with benefits, $65,000 a year, because they're taking from their power base. They're taking that illegal immigrant out of here that's going to vote. That's what they're doing. Can't you see what they're doing? They want chaos. They want ICE not here beating up people and a mistake being made so they can exploit ICE and get rid of ICE. They're not for pro-federal workers. They're for themselves and their own pensions and perks and salaries. They're a bunch of hypocrites. Do you agree?
Tom Welby is a profound disappointment. I
It's
saw it coming.
what they're doing.
I saw it coming, but he caved like a cheap suit. Sad.
Unbelievable. You want these people to get hurt. Let's turn them over to the police and then make it peacefully with handcuffs. You don't have to do this, hunt people down. like predators, and then something might happen there when a guy might run and an accident might happen, actually hit him in the knees with a car and run him over or something. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Do it peacefully. They want chaos so they can exploit these immigrants for votes. You know what they're doing.
Yep. It's sad, and that's our
Yeah.
party. Thank you, Donald. Awful. As we approach the top of the hour, just a quick thing. And I'll tell you, it is disturbing. Somebody texted in. So Biden and Pelosi advocating for abortion publicly isn't dissing the Pope and the Catholic faith. Additionally, though the Pope is considering the human leader of the church, he's still just a human, someone born with original sin, someone who has human failings, and someone who is tempted by Lucifer and sin like everyone else. The Pope is subject to misguidance and corruption. Example, Pope Leo X and his link to the Medici family. You are exactly right. And here he is. Here he is, once again issuing another statement, but nothing about the Iranian hangings of protesters. Nothing about the 42 to 45,000 Iranians slaughtered by the government, whose bodies were used for propaganda. Nothing about the destruction of the Catholic Church and other churches in Iran by this evil regime. Nothing. Not a word. We're going to listen to this Pope? Not a chance. By Ricardo Jewelers. By the way, I do Bishop Robert Barron every day. I do the readings. He says there's a Christian persecution happening right now across the globe. Over 300 million Christians face high degrees of hostility, and it's estimated that more than 5,000 Christians are killed annually for their faith. What has Pope Leo said about that? Nothing. 10:01 on my Ricardo Jewelers Watch. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Senator Dave McCormick is with us, and then we've got an interview on Pennsylvania energy after that. We're looking forward to Dave McCormick. Let's hear the news. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Thursday, April 16, 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:07 and change here in the great Northeast. It's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. Like Bill Legg of Pittston, Robert Hughes, Kingston, Bob Furady, Hazleton, and William Callahan of Dallas. So with history, our amazing founding fathers who we will not allow to be canceled, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guide, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense after that brief news adjournment. Well, when you talk news, a guy who makes more news than anybody but Donald Trump is our own Senator Dave McCormick. Senator McCormick, welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Hey, good morning, Bob. How are you?
We're doing great, and even better that we're talking to you. I guess subject number one is your analysis of this Iranian conflict and all that it portends.
Yeah, listen, I supported the president 100% in going after Iran and making sure they don't have a nuclear weapon that they have said they would use against the great Satan. There's no country that has more blood on its hands, more American blood than Iran over the last couple decades. I think the military mission was very clear: eliminate the drones, eliminate the ballistic missiles, eliminate the manufacturing, and make sure there's no path to a nuclear weapon. And listen, our military has performed magnificently, and now we're at a decision point for Iran. This blockade is going to squeeze them. 90% of their revenue comes from oil. And the Strait, listen, the Strait is not fully open, but note yesterday, 12 ships went through the Strait. So that's a fraction of what normally does, usually 120 a day. But we now have control of a corridor within the Strait while we're blockading Iran. So the Iranians have a decision point. Do they want our military to take out the next energy infrastructure, military infrastructure, and set them back to the Stone Age? Or do they want to do a deal where they give up their nuclear weapons and have a path to prosperity for the Persian people? The Iranian people, it's a great society. The problem is they've been run by a bunch of radicals for 50 years. So we'll see, but I think the president's done a courageous thing, and I support him 100%, and now we got to finish the job.
He could have waited till after the midterms, but it would have been that much harder, and they might have already had a nuclear weapon. And they, again, I keep telling the audience, it doesn't take, it's not hard to search. Their intent was to have it to use it, not to have it.
No doubt about it. And they lie, Bob. I'd say two things. Number one, they said they had no medium-range ballistic missiles, and then we see a missile get lobbed in to Diego Garcia, 2,500 miles, an Iranian missile. So they are building a capability to be able to attack America. There's no doubt about that. Second thing, I just want to do a little thought experiment with you. Imagine Kamala Harris had been president.
Oh, my God.
Right? Imagine that we had let the Iranians go unchecked for 4 years. They already showed they had enormous ballistic missile and drone capability. Imagine 3 more years of building. They were building drones and missiles faster than we could build interceptors, and they would have been that much closer to a nuclear weapon, and I think very likely have had a nuclear weapon under her watch. So, listen, this isn't easy stuff. It's a courageous decision to put men and women in combat. I as someone who served in Iraq, I take those decisions very seriously. But I think the president's on the right side of history here, and I think the American people will see that they're safer because he was willing to act. And there's no risk, in my opinion, and I don't think you would accept this. I wouldn't support it. I don't think most Pennsylvanians would support any long, drawn-out quagmire of U.S. forces in Iran or the Middle East. That's not going to happen. The president's going to finish the job one way or the other, peacefully or or with more military conflict, and we're going to finish the job and bring our men and women home.
While you Trump did it very inartfully, as he always does, in my view. But this discussion and this back and forth with Pope Leo, you talk about historical context in regard to this Iranian incursion. Why doesn't the Pope, and I'm Catholic, why doesn't the Pope place any historical and geopolitical context with the statements he's making? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, listen, I've met the Pope. I don't agree with a lot of the things the Pope says, but I do. Listen, we have so much to focus on right now. Explaining to the American people why we're in Iran, as the president's doing, and as I try to do every time, and also explaining to the American people the incredible things that have happened since the president came into office. So, for example, I had Kash Patel with me, Bobby. You and I have talked about this a number of times. I had Kash Patel with me a week ago in the Lehigh Valley in Allentown. And we sat with law enforcement, Dave Sunday, our attorney general, U.S. attorney from the Eastern District, number of great sheriffs and law enforcement, and 3 fentanyl families. And we talked about the fact that in 2024 under Joe Biden, there was 4,000 fentanyl deaths, most of them kids in Pennsylvania. And in 2025, it's going to be 1,600, which is 1,600 tragedies that we have to stop. But that's down about 60% because we've gone after the cartels, we've gone after China, we've gone after Mexico and the open borders. We've prosecuted criminals. All of this is happening because of President Trump's leadership. So when you go to the Pope, I have said, listen, I wish the president hadn't done that because I think it distracts from what's really important.
He's so many unenforced errors in that regard, but
listen,
that's just what he does.
Listen, he's not looking for my advice. He's not looking for my advice, but my advice would be you don't have to swing at every pitch. You know?
But we have to accept that he will.
He will. And we got 3 million Catholics in Pennsylvania, and I want them to understand that under the president's leadership, our country's headed in the right direction, and the economy's getting better for working families. You know, the big deal that happened yesterday, and I'm sure you talked about this, but 11% increase in the tax returns of Americans, $3,500 on average for Pennsylvanians that they're now putting in their pocket because of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. 23 million people took advantage of the fact that there's no tax on overtime. 21 million people took advantage of the no tax on tips. 21 people took advantage of the no tax on Social Security. 6 million people took advantage of no tax on tips. $7,000 incremental improvement in tax returns for small businesses. This is what we campaigned on, and this is what's happening with the president's leadership.
It is all great stuff. And how do you see through the fog? I'm watching Chuck Schumer on my monitor, and you'll tell people like him, you'll say it straight to them. Here's the strategy. Here are the goals. And they will then say, there was no strategy. There was no goals. And this is right after you say it. No strategy, no goals, no plan. And you say, how are their ears blocked? I mean, what happened here?
Well, I think. Listen, you know, I'm always respectful in terms of how I talk about things. You know, you don't like it sometimes, but here's the bottom line: they lie.
Yeah.
You know, there's political theater here, and so whether it's the DHS shutdown, I mean, Democratic Republicans for 25 years have been saying Iran can have a nuclear weapon, and now all of a sudden we have a president that has the courage to deal with it, and there's all this moral outrage. So this is politics, and it's unfortunate because if there's one thing that we shouldn't play politics with, it's our national security.
Yeah.
If there's one thing, you know, like to have a DHS shutdown where the Democrats have voted not to fund DHS, not to fund ICE, not to fund Border Patrol at a time when the threat is going up, we're not funding TSA, we're not funding CISA, which is the cyber center, and DHS at a time when that threat is growing dramatically because of what's going on with Iran. This is it's completely irresponsible, and it's political theater. And I really do believe this Trump derangement syndrome is that we're seeing, where they just can't bring themselves to acknowledge the good things that are happening and the president's leadership. And it's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in.
Senator McCormick, I know you've got to run, but final question. Is the DHS shutdown going to be resolved through another big mediocre bill, a reconciliation in the Senate?
Yeah, it's going to be. I think what's going to happen is, there's three things that I think are going to happen. One is you had the president that's basically stepped in to create a bridge where people are getting paid right now. That was irresponsible. Two, I think we're going to have the House vote on the bill that the Senate passed. And then three, I think there's going to be a reconciliation bill that will ensure DHS is funded fully, both ICE and Border Patrol, and it'll be funded through the president's term and through the election. In other words, we're going to take away the ability of the Democrats to ever use paying ICE or Border Patrol as a point of leverage. I think that's what will happen. There's a big debate on whether we should put a lot more things in that reconciliation bill, the defense supplemental and things like that, and that'll be a debate. My view on this is we should be as aggressive as humanly possible to get as much of our priorities as possible that will bear the political weight. And the people that will decide that, in my mind, is the president. So if the president says he wants this in the reconciliation, the speaker and the majority leader, we cannot. We've got to be aligned here with the president, and that's the way I'll vote.
And the parliamentarian is not going to allow the SAVE Act or any portion of it to be part of this reconciliation.
Listen, Lindsey Graham is sort of leading the charge on the reconciliation. There's some talk with the president of a down payment on the Save America Act. What would that mean? You're not going to get the Save America Act in the way that you and I want it. Mm-hmm. You may get some incentives and penalties associated with voter ID and demonstration of citizenship to register. It's not going to be the whole thing. And as you and I have talked about, and I'm in the middle of the night, I've given multiple speeches on the Senate floor. We got to get that whole thing done, and that's a real disappointment. We're not further along for you and me and lots of the people that you and I align ourselves with in our party. So I'm really disappointed where we are with that. We may get some things in the reconciliation, but it's not going to be enough.
Well, Senator, please keep in touch on all these matters. We thank you for your time. We know you've got something you've got to get to. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me as always, Bob.
All right, our man, Senator Dave McCormick. We'll take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. This date, 1966, Murph tells us the Young Rascals moved into the top 10 charts at number 9 with their hit Good Lovin', one of my favorites. It really is. And 1972, what's past is prologue, obviously. This date, Apollo 16, blasting off on a voyage to the moon. Astronauts John Young, Charles Duke, and Ken Mattingly on board. Think of this. It's what, 54 years later? We're doing that mission again? It's fascinating. Fascinating. Well, Julia Cartwright, she's a senior research fellow for economics at the American Economic Institute. And she's got some issues with the way our governor, most particularly, but our state deals with energy in this Commonwealth. It's Pennsylvania's bad policy prescriptions, not a lack of resource, causing the spike in energy prices in this region. And here she is, Julia Cartwright. Welcome, Julia. Thank you for being with us on the Bob Cordaro Show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So talk to me. Where are we going wrong here? It seems to me that we've had two governors in a row who pretend, by the way, now Shapiro, formerly Wolf, who pretend they're pursuing energy policies in this incredibly energy-rich state, but they're not.
Unfortunately.
Tell us about what you see and what your prescriptions and thoughts are.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, Pennsylvania is sitting on the Marcellus Shale and just an incredible abundance of energy production.
And the Utica Shale, too, by the way.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And New York, for example, decides not to utilize the Marcellus Shale to their detriment. But what, as you mentioned, Pennsylvanians are seeing, we see 1 in 7 Pennsylvanian households are energy strapped. So this is where they spend over 6% of their income on energy, where in the average state, it's 1 in 9. The Pennsylvanians are also spending 13 cents extra per kilowatt hour than the average American. So there are some big issues with energy production in Pennsylvania. Now, one of the big things, I don't know if you are familiar with it, but it has to do with the capacity market. So an energy capacity market, you can think of it as like an insurance market for energy. Not all of our energy production runs at the same time. Solar and wind, for example, are not going to run when it's not windy, not going to run when it's not sunny. So a capacity market is a way to, you can think of it as kind of smooth that consumption. And last year, there was this huge capacity spike, and prices in the capacity market increased over 833%. Now, the capacity market is just one aspect of how Pennsylvanians get energy, but this translates to about a 10% increase in the electricity bills that your average Pennsylvanian feels. So that was a huge issue. There also is the renewable mandate, which has led to a over 600% increase in energy prices for Pennsylvanians since 2019. So there has been a massive increase in the retail prices because of that renewable mandate. And the third big reason is...
And that renewable mandate is that wind and solar in particular have to be purchased by utilities.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So there's a statutory thing in place that says, yes, there has to be wind and solar has to be a substantial mix of the energy purchasing in Pennsylvania, which really ties the hands of the rate companies and the utility companies if they would like to, for example, rely more heavily on fracking liquefied natural gas, coal, oil, all of those different type of mixes.
We're talking with Senior Research Fellow for Economics at the American Economic Institute. Julia Cartwright, tell me, like Pennsylvania produces the most conventional power in the Northeast United States. We have incredible energy resources in the state, and yet we're being clipped by statewide policies initiated by WILK and followed up by Shapiro. It's frightening, and yet they deflect the blame somehow.
Absolutely. It boggles the mind. Pennsylvania is number 2 in natural gas production in the U.S., second only to Texas. And there are over 260,000 energy sector jobs in Pennsylvania. There are very high wages in the energy sector in Pennsylvania. There is a over $41 billion annual economic activity just in the gas sector alone. The Marcellus Shale is a massive energy boom that I mentioned, so it's important for Pennsylvania to take advantage of it. As I mentioned, Pennsylvanians pay higher rates than most folks, not as high as New York, so we can always feel a little bit better about that, but higher than just the average rate in the U.S. So just an electricity rate per kilowatt hour in New York is about 22 cents, and Pennsylvania is around 19 cents, whereas the U.S. average is 17 cents, and we have very energy-rich states like Texas down at 16 cents. So that gives you just kind of a feel. Yeah. So yes, competitive in the Northeast, but not necessarily very competitive when it comes to the average U.S. price. So
it comes down to state policy.
Exactly, yes. It comes down to state policy. And Representative Donna Oberlander actually has done a lot of work repealing some of these draconian measures. And so she has worked on the PA House Energy Committee that represents one of Pennsylvania's core natural gas producing counties. And she has been really trying to target what's called the Pennsylvania Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And that is similar to the AEPS, which is the Pennsylvania Renewable Mandate. And this was repealed by Act. So the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative was repealed last year in Act 45, which actually brought a lot of relief to Pennsylvanians. But something that is giving a lot of constraint to it is the renewable bill. And because, as you can imagine, if you mandate a specific technology mix, hey, we have to buy this certain amount of wind and solar, it just ties your hands with regards to how competitive you can get with pricing energy and how flexible Pennsylvanians can get with that.
And Julia Cartwright, what's amazing is that net, when you take wind and you take solar, they're not better for the environment than natural gas.
Yes. And that's, the horrible irony of that, absolutely.
Dear Lord.
Right. If you take into account all of the rare earth mineral mining and the storing of batteries and the disposing of batteries and the transportation of that, yes, you are right. It's not clear that they are very competitive. And so that's why it's important to have a energy policy that's technology neutral. You can, by all means, set the environmental goals that you want, but picking, to your point, specific technologies that have garnered favor with politicians is not the way to open that up. It's not a way to provide either the initiatives and the environmental initiatives or the economic initiatives. Another big issue that Pennsylvania is running into is the permit reform. So there are dozens of projects just waiting to be permitted, and because permitting is so slow and just riddled with red tape in Pennsylvania, there are projects that have not been even started, much less brought online.
But the governor's office is able to produce a lot of TikTok videos. At least we have that.
Doesn't that?
At least we have that.
With energy prices. I heard TikTok for somehow. Yeah. Exactly. The TikTok video is not exactly helping anyone's utility bill.
You see the insanity of it, and then they just pretend like it's normal.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. And so permit reform is something that could be a really tangible element to just greenlight a whole bunch of these products or projects, excuse me. And as I'm sure you and your listeners know, energy is priced nationally. And of course, oil, for example, is going to be priced globally. So even though Pennsylvanians are pumping out a lot more energy from natural gas, they're not necessarily taking advantage of all of that because it's priced nationally. Now, if Pennsylvanians were allowed to greenlight more projects, permit reform, do away with a lot of these really restrictive environmental mandates, and take advantage of more of the Marcellus leverage, that could really alleviate that pressure on folks' electricity bill. And of course, AI is coming online. Maine was the first state that just banned data centers for AI. And that isn't necessarily where Pennsylvanians want to go. Pennsylvanians, I'm sure, want to take advantage of the fact that we have this incredible technology. But in order to do that without people, with just your average Pennsylvanian feeling the squeeze in their utility bill, is that you have to meet the moment with flexible energy policy. Or these data centers, if they do get built, are going to impact especially those folks closest to the data centers.
Quite amazing stuff. Well, we're thankful for you to come on. Julia Cartwright, Senior Research Fellow for Economics at the American Economic Institute. Thank you, and please keep us apprised. We'd love to have you back.
Okay, thanks for having me. Take care.
All right. We'll take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you dutifully, responsibly, patriotically by our man John Basiligo, who's going to be our guest at 11:05 today. Featuring today, as we head into the weekend, his great Basiliga hospitality group. 3 bar restaurants that are as good as it gets. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrooks Township. The Far Street Tavern in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. Fine dining, yep, we nail it. Atera 519, downtown Scranton. Amazing happy hour, $10 drinks, $6 craft beers, and great apps. The Stegmeyer Mansion. Remarkable. Journey back in time, but enjoy today's best cuisine at the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Don't forget about, if you ever want a bed and breakfast or to recommend it to somebody, the Fred Stegmeyer Mansion, right down the street from Mary on the South Franklin in downtown Wilkes-Barre. Awesome. Probably the best place to stay in Northeast PA. Sergei's will be open tonight. It is the nightclub. Robert Hughes, Kingston. We lost him March 19th at the age of 72. He was an Army veteran where he learned mechanics. He lived in California for 28 years, but then moved back and resettled in Hughestown. Preceded in death by his parents, but survived by his wife, Catherine Louise Hughes, sisters, 3 daughters, and a son, Robert Hughes. Robert Bob Fioretti, beloved father, husband, friend, Bob Fioretti passed away at age 78 on March 23rd. He was born in Hazleton, served in Vietnam in the U.S. Marine Corps. After serving, he married the beautiful love of his life, Ann Lipovsky. Together, they raised 6 children. They also had the pleasure of making many precious memories with their 7 grandchildren, a great legacy. He was a role model of perseverance and had a strong work ethic. More than almost anything, he loved hiking and exploring Penn's Woods. His family says Bob Fioretti will be dearly missed. His priceless words of wisdom, unique laugh, big smile, his hugs and kisses, and the way his eyes would light up when he saw his family. Bob Fioretti and Robert Hughes, our veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resort. Well, what are they saying? Today, very warm and less humid with sun through high clouds, which I thought they were all high. 89 degrees today, 78 at Montage as I speak. Tonight, an evening thunderstorm. It'll go down to 61. Tomorrow, Friday, mostly cloudy and warm. A shower cannot be ruled out. High is 76, low 53. Saturday, clouds followed by a brightening sky and remaining very warm. It'll be 82 degrees with a low of 49. Well, things drop off on Sunday. On and off rain and drizzle in the morning, otherwise mostly cloudy and cooler, becoming breezy in the afternoon. 54 degrees for the high, low of 33. That's because Tina Morocco's leaving. Monday, brisk and chilly with sun and some clouds, 48. And 26 is the low, so maybe we'll figure out how to keep Tina Morocco here so the weather stays nice. But that's your weather, brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resort. All right. Go ahead, play it, Bulldog. Led Zeppelin. They had their hit Whole Lot of Love, Murph tells us, certified gold in the U.S. this date, 1970. Heard tell the story, Robert Plant. He was flying somewhere or maybe just hanging around with Phil Collins. And he said, geez, we just can't get Led Zeppelin. Just can't get a number one hit. And Phil Collins handed him a bunch of music sheets and said, here, try these. Yeah, in any event. Let's go right to Bill from Pittston. Bill, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Hey, that was great. You're once again, you get all these great guests on. I'll tell you, can't beat it. Anyway, did you hear what Tom Holman had to say to Leo, the Pope?
Yes. Very happy he did.
He told him to stay out of it. And I love the part he says, if you were in my shoes for 40 years and talked to a 9-year-old girl that was raped multiple times or stood in the back of a tractor trailer with 19 dead aliens at my feet, including a 5-year-old boy baked to death, if they understood those atrocities that happened on the border, I think he'd change his mind. But that's exactly it. The Pope.
I don't understand. He's got, and by the way, I didn't mention this yet, but he was meeting the week before he started this rampage. The Pope was meeting with David Axelrod, the chief political strategist for Barack Obama. And it's like it's beyond suspicious. Beyond suspicious.
Yeah. And they were joking around the Pope might run for president.
Yeah. It's not good. And when you ignore all context when you're making your pronouncements, the Vatican's known for its scholarship. You've got people there that understand these things, even if you don't have the capacity to understand. He shouldn't be making these statements and they are just out of ignorance, frankly.
That's because they're on the other side of Leo. I'm a theologian of the cross, meaning you identify with the oppressed, the downcast, and you look for God's justice. Pope Leo has no understanding of this. He sided with the wrong side. He doesn't truly feel the pain of the oppressed, the weak, like a 9-year-old girl that was raped multiple times. He'd rather criticize the president. The president isn't God. He doesn't, he can say stupid things. But the thing is, the Pope doesn't know his role, and is not an advocate for the poor in my eyes. And it's a tragedy. Now, John Paul is a completely different story. That guy knew who to identify with, and he's the polar opposite of both Francis and Leo. And if you recall, Francis got in trouble for worshiping Pachamama. Remember that from Brazil, that Brazilian goddess that he paid homage to? And he even had a bowl that was used in the service placed on the altar when he was performing Mass.
By the way, we're running out of time, Bill, but I read the Catholic readings from Bishop Barron every day. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's pointing out the slaughter of Christians around the world when the Pope is ignoring it. He did that today. 10:50, Bloomberg Money Minute. Picardo says so. Ringo Starr released his hit Don't Come Easy, Murph says. This date, 1971. By the way, Brother Joe from Brother Joe's Hoagie Shop in Kingston just dropped off hoagies, and they did come easy. They are great. Absolutely great. Thank you, Brother Joe from Brother Joe's Hoagies, of course. Hey, let's go right to the blower. We got Joe from Berwick. Joe, we got a minute, my man. Fire away.
All right. Well, the Pope obviously missed something here in the Bible, because back when Israel had been freed from Egypt many thousands of years ago, God commanded them to go into the land he gave them, and they commanded them to do what we would today consider genocide.
Yes.
Now, I say that because I've had this conversation with many people over that subject, and I always, say it has to be in context. You have to understand the world at that time and the context of it. But Israel was told by God to basically commit genocide against the people who were in the land at that day. And second of all, Pope Leo forgot the Teutonic Knights and the Knights what are they? The ones who carried out the Crusades.
Knights Templar, among the others.
The Templars. When the Catholic Church told these men, God will absolve you of your sins if you go off and become a warrior in the name of the cross. I mean, what is this guy talking about?
I'm telling you, I don't understand, except, and it's disturbing to know that he's consulting, apparently, with David Axelrod for how things will play politically in the United States. So he's a born-bred leftist. He's a disgrace. You cannot talk about any of this without the proper context, and he hasn't, and I'm disgusted with him.
Hey, you know that betting market that bets on things in the world? I wonder what the odds are right now of Pope Leo coming out and endorsing the Democrat Party in that during the midterm.
Oh, yeah, open the borders, Pope Leo. You don't understand that. Don't take away the greatest threat from sick, demented Islamists who are trying to bring about the apocalypse. Don't do anything about that. Let's all just sit, because I guess weapons couldn't reach the Vatican. Yeah. Crazy. Disgusted. I'm livid. I'm getting more angry every day. And he doubled down during his trip to Africa. As somebody texted in, they said, Pope Leo, you're saying that the Catholics and the Muslims should get along. He said, well, somebody better tell the Islamists.
Well, he might not have to worry about weapons reaching the Vatican, because if he takes the hear no evil, see no evil that the church took during World War II and the Nazi rampage, maybe they'd be okay. You know what I'm saying?
And here's the saddest thing. The Catholic Church, the Vatican, blew it on the Nazis, and they're blowing it on Nazi 2, which is what the Iranian mullahs are. Thank you, Joe. Hey, 11:01 on my Ricardo Jewelers watch. Let us take leave for the news, and then we'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. John Basiliga on the other side of all this. Great good morning, everyone. It's 11:08 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch. This beautiful Thursday, April 16, 2026, here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and our honor. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like Bob Fioretti, Hazelton, Robert Hughes, Kingston, William Legg, Bill Legg, Pittston, and William Callahan, Dallas. So with history, our amazing founding fathers, who we will not allow to be canceled, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order after that brief news adjournment, the meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here. Well, we talk about John Basiliga all day, every day, because he brings us these amazing veterans tributes. But he's always, and we'll feature a different company every day and so forth. But as a developer, he's just remarkable. And they inked a deal with Lackawanna College, who has worked with developers before, like John and our friend Bill Rinaldi, to take what had become a white elephant in downtown Scranton, the old Adams Plaza, of late the Scranton Center, and they're going to develop it for living space and dorms and a very important headquarters for another one of their academic pursuits at Lackawanna. Quite amazing and a big deal. And here he is with us, our man John Basiliga. John, how are you today?
Hi, doing well, Bob. Good morning, and thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, I had to talk to you about this because, you know, I drive past that Scranton Center virtually every day, and it's been sitting there. It's been deteriorating. I saw the renderings of what you're going to do to it, and I said, this is going to be night and day for that area of the downtown.
Yeah, it's just been a dead-looking, institutionally-looking building for so long, Bob. And now I'm super happy to be able to work with Lackawanna College on turning it into something that'll be an asset to the downtown and really liven up that dead corner. And plus, you know, add to the school, the value of the school, and they're working to get into Division II if they haven't gotten there too. So adding different programs, and I know there's some nursing programs going into it, but making the building come alive.
John, is part of it going to be residential, or is it mostly classroom space?
Yeah, so we talked about, you know, the college as it grows, it's pretty remarkable. Their need for housing is increased. So we're looking at doing some type of possibly dorms or more efficient type apartments on the floors. The college will take floors 2 and 3 and maybe possibly something on the first floor. So we're going to have 4, 5, and 6 to work with, which is about 16,000 square foot of floor. So I have almost 50,000 square feet. I have a 100,000 square foot building to work on some kind of residential aspect.
Now, have you taken ownership of the building and you're going to lease to Lackawanna? Is that how the project's going to work?
Yes, that's correct, Bob. Last Friday, we closed on the building, and we've already, for weeks before we closed, we've been working on doing the interior demolition, and we've had dozens and dozens of dumpsters and stuff coming out of there. It used to be, I think, medical offices, so we're just clearing out those 2 floors first. We're already ready to start framing. The drawings are done, so we're going to move in there pretty quickly. And as we get that done, we're going to add some chases for the upstairs apartments so there's no work being done while the college occupies those 2 floors. We'll be able to just do some lighter framing and things up above, but not cutting through concrete floors and all that loud noise.
Well, I know the project, the Adams Plaza, because my father worked on it as an electrical contractor, has had it's had a checkered history, to say the least. It even from the day it was built. I mean, a guy named, believe it or not, Philander Claxton was the developer, and the contractors had to fight for their money. It was quite a mess, and it's been that way ever since. This is huge to get a white elephant developed in Scranton. It really is big.
Well, Bob, I have to give a lot of credit to, Jody Cordaro, who's, chair of the board. He really worked hard to put this deal together, and he understood the value of the collaboration between, a private investor like me and an institution like Lackawanna College. And when things seem like there's no way to get them done, you figure it out, you sit together. Dr. Jill's wonderful, Brian Costanzo from Lackawanna College too. I mean, these people really work hard, and they want the best for their students and the best for the college and the downtown.
Lackawanna,
and, having a team like that.
We have Jill Murray on, and Lackawanna has really done amazing things. Their tentacles are everywhere, and it's a major force in Northeast Pennsylvania right now.
It's all mindset, Bob. Their mindset is always positive. It's always growth, controlled growth. I kind of relate them. A lot of colleges are pulling back and they're forging ahead. It's almost like one of our other tenants, Boscov's, over at the marketplace in Steamtown. They're bucking every trend in the retail industry as well. They just keep growing and better. They're just well-managed institutions and businesses, and I'm proud to be a part of both of them. But to be able to bring this to downtown Scranton and make it look the way like that rendering is, which I worked on myself actually over the weekend
really?
with the help of some AI. I like the way it looks. That one stuck out to me, and we're going to build it. I'm super excited.
Well, one of the things that you do so well on all of your projects, and many of them have been new construct, but a lot of them have been just rebuilding, is you change the aesthetic look of a building or a property, which is much in need here, and make it completely different, which is what the renderings look like.
And I try, Bob, to layer the existing, core and shell, and then just add those other, like the greenery and the windows and then the interaction. When I put Crunch Fitness in the bridge over Lackawanna Avenue, I put all the active equipment there, the treadmills, the TVs and stuff. So when you're driving down the road, you see action, you see life. Same thing with this building on 401 Adams. We're going to have balconies. We're going to have different, sliding glass doors on the upper floors. People be able to interact with the public. It'll just make the building come to life more. And that's always super important to me. And always trying to turn something that was kind of gray and dull and just make it lively. It enhances the city. And Bob, I'll say,
it's huge.
Being downtown and seeing all the people walking around now, seeing people walking their dogs or even riding bicycles, like the city's coming alive as well. It's great to see.
Our friend Mark Aizzi texted in because his father was also on the original Adams Plaza construction, fighting to get paid. So it's like, I'm telling you, it's been a long, tortured history. And this is the culmination in an incredibly positive way, both for Lackawanna College and for the city of Scranton and for you, John.
I think about for 10 years they struggled to figure out how to get it done, and just putting our heads together. Like I said, collaboration is very important, and no matter what it is or whatever challenges people face, try to think of it in a different light and figure it out and make it work. And that's exactly what we did. So.
Private developers have been so critical. We've had very poor political leadership, city and county, but private developers, despite all of that, have made so many things happen, particularly in downtown Scranton. Just kudos to you and all the others. But I want to mention something that we talked about briefly, but this Fred Stegmeyer mansion, the Frederick Stedmeyer mansion in downtown Wilkes-Barre, taking it in another direction. That is an incredible place. I went through it with you when it was a little beat up and quite worn down. Oh, it is awesome.
I appreciate that, Bob. That is a special building. It's one of a kind. I can't explain the decor to anybody and even do it justice. Once you walk in that building, it's mind-blowing. It really is. It's eight rooms that we rent out. We removed all the TVs out of the whole building. It's like we want you to go back in time when you walk in there. And it's a different world once you walk through that front door, and it's doing really well. We're getting a lot of reservations now, and people are saying they're going to come back. You see our reviews are all 5-star. So our management and Heather, who's our manager down there, has done a great job. But it's great. We still have some work to do on the exterior, some landscaping, some other repairs, but the inside is perfect.
Well, John, I was worried we were going to lose you in Lackawanna County in Scranton because I said we're stuck with this mayor for 3 more years. We need you to we need you to be there. And I'm saying, oh my God, he's going down to Luzerne County where they've got good mayors, and now we're going to lose him. But seeing you back with another major project in Scranton, it's a relief.
Well, my heart and soul is home, and I always said if we can make our downtown better, everything around it will improve, and it's so important. But I don't think we should settle for people saying that we can't do it or we can't be better, we can't get things done, because that's just not true. And if the people we elect, the politicians, can't get it done, that's just too bad. There's always a way. Like I said, there's always a way to get it done. And if we want what's better for everybody, especially our younger generations, they deserve the best, and we have to show them and guide them and be good examples to them as we move forward with things.
Well, John,
never give up, Bob.
John
Never,
Basiliga and Lackawanna College doesn't get any better than that partnership. John, we thank you so much for coming on and for doing this project, taking it on. I cannot wait to watch it take shape.
I appreciate that, Bob, and I appreciate everybody that's positive about it and upbeat about the city. And again, thank you for letting me do the tribute to our veterans. I thank them all the time, and I'm honored to do that.
Amen. Amen. John Basiliga, developer extraordinaire. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. George texts in, Bob, Pope Leo is practicing liberation theology, which is socialism on steroids. You're right. Quite amazing. Sad. Disappointing. But we won't be deterred. Hey, I've been drinking my tea, and I just got honey brought to me by my friends at the Mulberry Bush. They've moved up to Hopkins Farm and Greenhouse up in Falls, and they're opening. And they're there. I mean, you can't go to Mulberry Street anymore, which I loved going there. Plants, you name it. The whole package. Eggs, honey, flower pots. They'll repot your flower. It's amazing. Great people, but thank you for the honey. It's really good stuff. And so they're up at Hopkins Farm. Hey, we got texted in. Let me find out. This is Gary. Yeah, our man Gary. He says, we had a choice between a nuclear-armed Iran or a temporary spike in gas prices. And since some of you can't decide if you're a man or a woman, Trump made the decision for you. Yeah, I know it. All right. I do it with some trepidation because we don't know where it's going to go. But we're going to give it a shot. Our man, Larry from Plymouth. Larry,
yes, Bob.
How are you, my friend?
Bob, I'm a new man, Bob. And I'll tell you why. Bob, I used to have trouble hearing you on the phone and understand you. So I went to the doctor on Tuesday. He cleaned my ears. I'm a new man. Honest to God, Bob, when I come home and turn my TV on, it almost blew my eardrums out. I had it so loud.
I love it.
But here's what I want to tell the people, Bob. I bought these hearing aids too. I don't know if you ever hear them advertised in Audion.
Okay.
Bob, go and buy them. Don't spend $5,000 on hearing aids. These are $98 at Walmart. They're fantastic. I know somebody that spent $5,000. They got these and they like them better.
Well, so it must have changed your whole outlook.
Yes. Oh, yeah. But anyway, I know, Bob, no church today, no politics. You talked about Jackie Robinson, and he broke the color barrier.
Yep.
Do you know he wasn't the first in pro sports to break the color barrier?
In baseball, though.
He was in baseball, but you know who else did it in football?
Who's that?
Did you ever hear of a guy named Woody Strode?
No.
Okay, Woody Strode or Stroud. Well, he played football with Jackie Robinson in college. And he was a high jumper and a sprinter and everything, but Jackie Robinson could beat him in a sprint. But anyway, after he got out of football, Bob, he went into the movies. And in 1956, he was the first black man to have a leading role in a movie.
What was
and
the name?
Yeah.
Huh? Well, I know you'll tell us the name. I was just going to ask.
And the name of the movie, Bob, was Sergeant Rutledge. And he was the sergeant of the Buffalo Soldiers. And do you know why they called them Buffalo Soldiers?
Continue.
They wore coats out of buffalo hide, and they had dark faces. So the Indians started calling them Buffalo Soldiers, and they were scared to death of them. And they said about Woody Strode, Bob, it looked like his body was carved out of granite. He was, I mean.
And what years did he? So he played football in the early 50s?
The mid 40s.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, he was accused of murder in the movie, but he didn't do it. And then Burt Lancaster was pretty strong, and he used to challenge Woody Strode to different kind of contests. He challenged him to an arm wrestling contest, and they said Woody Strode put his arm down like a baby. Bob, he was just muscle and bone. And at the end of the movie, they sing the song. It says that John Henry was a weakling next to Captain Buffalo.
Not bad.
What do you call it? Jeffrey Hunter was in the movie. Constance Towers was in. It's a really good movie made by John Ford.
This is the new Larry. Larry,
yes,
we might have to get you a new theme song. This is a new complete. Are you completely positive about everything now? Tell us.
Everything I said is absolutely true, Bob. You know, Bob, that's one thing about the old movies. I lose myself in the movies, Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the classics. Today, the garbage. I wouldn't even turn on the TV.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Our man Rick Bigelow, who does a lot of great history inserts and conversations with us.
I hear him all the time.
Yeah, he gave me the book about or the movie about Operation Market Garden in World War II.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How am I blanking on the name? Well, because I'm just getting old. What the heck was the name? Oh, A Bridge Too Far. And I said I had not watched an older movie in a long time, and this movie was awesome.
Yep, and another good one was Force 10 from Navarone, with who was in it? I think Kevin Costner was in that. I think what's his name? Who played? Oh, Carl Weathers, who was in Rocky.
Oh, it was a remake of Force 10.
It was Force 10 from Navarone. They went to blow up a bridge.
And that's a remake of an older movie.
No.
I thought that was an old movie.
There was a movie, A Bridge Too Far.
No, I'm talking about a Force 10 from Navarone.
I don't know. That's the only Force 10 from Navarone I know.
Okay. Maybe
and Robert Shaw was on it too.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, I love the old ones. The only people I like today, Bob, in the movies that I think are good actors, I like. Oh boy, I can't even remember his name. But anyway, and you know who I don't agree with his politics at all.
We sound like two old farts talking here. Every subject we bring up, we don't remember anything about it.
but Bob, like I said, I don't agree with his politics, but I like Sean Penn acting.
Oh, he's a good actor. Yeah.
He made the remake of All the President's Men. No, not All the President's Men. The one with Broderick Crawford.
I know you're talking about the Louisiana guy, right?
Yeah, whatever his name was. Yeah, but both
Huey
of them
Long,
are good.
Huey Long, yeah.
Huey Long. Both of them. Both of those movies are good. I usually don't like remakes, but I did like that one, and I like there's a movie Pelham 1, 2, 3 where they hijack a subway car.
Yep.
And that's with what do you call it? One of them is with Travolta, and the earlier one, the first one, was with Walter Matthau. They're both good.
Well, Larry, we like you with your new hearing aids. We're very happy about it.
But I'm telling anybody out there, Bob, don't spend thousands. $98 at Walmart.
All right. Somebody told me I was thinking of the Guns of Navarone. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no. This is Force 10 from Navarone.
In fact, now about 5 people telling me, Guns of Navarone. Love it.
Right.
All right, my man. Thank you, Larry. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Veterans Tribute. And then we're going to go back to the phones because Bob from Wyoming wants to talk about Operation Market Garden. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day, as with every day, brought to you proudly by our man John Basiliga. And today we feature the great Basiliga Hospitality Group, which is growing, not only at their existing locations, but there's more to come. Coney Island and downtown Scranton next. The Old Brook Inn, Springbrook Township, 307. Amazing. Far Street Tavern, outstanding. In the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. It's the reimagined neighborhood tradition. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. Check it out. I just walk in, you look up and say, wow. Fine dining, we talk about it all the time, and I can't wait to get there this weekend to Terra 519, downtown Scranton. Great happy hour, great after hours. Well, in today's day and age, that's after 10 o'clock. Bar and food at a Terra, awesome. Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre, the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Amazing event space, incredible restaurant. And then Sergei's the nightclub, open with no cover tonight and having a blast all weekend. William Callahan. We lost him March 29th at age 77. He was from Dallas. He was born in Kingston, graduate of Nanacoke High School, class of 1966. He went on to serve our country in the Marine Reserves. He had a number of jobs during his life, including with High Art Lamp, United Pants, and Anthracite Apartments in Pittston. They loved him there. They treated each other, he and they, the residents, like family. He loved to golf and attend his children's basketball and sporting events. Preceded in death tragically by his son Scott and his daughter Shannon Carafa. He's survived by his beloved wife, Karen, his children, his grandchildren, a great-grandson, and other family members. William Callahan, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast. By the way, Navy guy asked, well, why do we do AccuWeather in 16? Well, because we are the weather station. And who brings you the weather? And who knows more about reacting to weather than Montage Mountain Resorts, which brings you this report. Today, very warm, less humid, sun through high clouds, 89 degrees. It's 80 at Montage as I speak. Tonight, an evening thunderstorm, low 61. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and warm. A shower cannot be ruled out, so let us not do so. High of 76, low of 53. Saturday, clouds followed by a brightening sky. It'll remain very warm. High 82, low 49. Sunday, though, things look ugly. Starting to look ugly because Tina Morocco from Sotheby's in Naples is leaving town. So we're going to get on and off rain and drizzle in the morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and cooler. Breezy in the afternoon. The high will only be 54. The low, 33. Monday, because Tina will be completely gone back to Naples. Brisk and chilly with sun and some clouds. High 48, low 26. So enjoy these next 3 days. That's what that tells me. Huey Lewis. Murph tells us his date, 1984. Huey and the News released their hit, The Heart of Rock and Roll. Bob Cordaro back with you. And, of course, there they are, the new King's geniuses. I mean, you can't even make up how stupid they are. You can't make it up. Boy, oh, boy. Somebody says, morning, Bob. Behind on the Odyssey app. Had to drive through Massachusetts the other day, and I think I found some competition for the worst road conditions. More similarities between far left-run states, says the electrician. I'm happy you brought this up, electrician. So on my street, which I told you was like Fallujah after it was strafed, first, I want to describe the incompetence of the mayor who would be congressperson. It's stunning. Well, first, they wasted all this money and effort and painted crosswalks. Now, the crosswalks were painted in the middle of potholes that were deep enough to sink to your knee. Okay, so they painted the crosswalks. What that was about, I have no idea. So now, about two and a half weeks ago, I'm carrying on the radio. Next thing you know, they're patching my block, putting down patches. Well, the patches fail almost immediately. So then they start paving, actually grading it in order to pave it. So they grade the street. In fact, not just my block, but the whole street. After they grade the street, they dig into the street and they're repatching. Like, this is such insanity. Mayor Cognetti is so incompetent. Her administration is so insanely incompetent. I can't believe this myself. So we're on the second patch job, and the second patch job dug up after they already graded the street. This is pure insanity. This is what left-wing lunatics do. Unreal. It's really unreal. By the way, somebody says, LTS, at work we got Brother Joe's for lunch. Thanks for the mention. Yeah, Brother Joe's. It was great. Let me do this because Mayor Regina is counseling me, and then we're going to get to the phones. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for April 16th. She says, you are a messenger of God's love, a living lamp that offers its light to all, and the salt of the earth. Take Jesus to the people and places that need him most today. Well, they need him in Iran, that's for sure. So let's maybe start there, and Trump will get it done. All right, let's go to Bob from Wyoming on Operation Market Garden. Bob, how are you?
Hey, Bob. Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Hey, before I get to that, real quick, okay, I'm the guy who wanted to be your designated driver for the best cigar bar. Now that the weather's going,
we did not forget about that.
Okay, great. Great. Looking forward to that. Here's who I'm calling. My mother's first cousin, his name was Harold Kenner, was killed during Market Garden. He was a glider soldier.
Wow.
And what happened was in the early 2000s, my mother got contacted by the Department of Defense saying that they wanted a DNA sample from her and her brother because they were first cousins because he was MIA. And, they thought they found his body in the Netherlands. And it turned out they did. It was positive identification. And they ended up burying him with full military honors at Arlington. And the family members
did you get to go
available.
To that? Did you get to go
yes,
to that?
Yes, I did.
That is one of the most awesome experiences in life, to go to Arlington for a burial. My cousin's husband got buried there. Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. But I was really impressed. The Department of Defense, they do not forget about the MIAs. I have a booklet, basically, it's like about an inch thick, of the whole where the operation took place, his skeletal remains, his DNA information. I've got that whole book, and it's just amazing how this was 60 years after the fact. They they identified him. But anyway, I thought, tying in with that story.
And isn't
the
it
local
sad
veteran-
for the ego of one general, your relative met their demise in World War II. I mean, he may have been killed in any other engagement, who knows? But it was the ego of Montgomery of the British. Oh, we could do and completely, and it changed the Operation Market Garden's failure. Changed the tenor of the entire post-war era. We would have been through to Germany first, but for Operation Market Garden. Wow.
Well, hey, I appreciate all you do recognizing veterans, and I just thought that was timely. I want to bring it to your attention.
I'm so happy you called. God bless them.
And remind you, about our lunch date. Okay,
all right, my friend.
We'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Hey, we've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's do that, and we'll come back. Biden banner disgrace. Stolen valor. Day 122. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association. And please contact them on their website or on Facebook and let them know nicely, civilly, politely how disgusted you are with their action. As somebody texted in, Bob, maybe some of these clowns with the Biden banner need to attend a military funeral. Maybe then they would understand the respect that the true veteran deserves. ALTS. Biden banner disgrace. Day 122. So, yeah, actually disgusting. So disappointed with some of these people. And by the way, we're going to finish with Hotel California. Now, I didn't like this song until we played, our prison band played it at Fort Dix. And then you play the song a little bit, you get it. But on this date, 1977, Murph says it moved up to number 4 with their hit Hotel California. And plus, it lends itself to talking over it a little bit, you know? Hi, Bob. My company has donated our services in Arlington National Cemetery for the last 29 years, somebody texts, every July. We are extremely honored and privileged to give back to our men and women in uniform. Great. That is great. Well, you give me the name of the company. You deserve a plug. Are you kidding me? I know we talked about this before, but George says, Bob, wait until they finally pave your street and the water company comes and digs it up. Well, that'll be, see, there's nothing complicated about this. But when you're worried about urinals in City Hall and you're worried about abortion after birth and you're worried about keeping the border open and trying to lock ICE out from taking illegal aliens out of this area, like Mayor Cognetti is, well, then you don't pay attention to how to pave the streets, which is your job. And so you paint crosswalks before they tear them up. And then you patch to shut me up, apparently. And then you tear up the patches by grading the street as you prepare to pave it. And then once you do that, you tear up the grading that you just did for reasons beyond my comprehension. And then maybe at some point you actually pave the street after all of that wasted money and effort. And the saddest part, if there was any level of competence for Mayor Paige Cognetti, the streets that have to be torn up on occasion by the utilities, they tell you when they're going to do it. And then they could help pay for the repaving and regrading. It's insanity. But that's what leftists do. We heard it about her pal, Governor Shapiro, screwing Pennsylvania Energy. And instead of paying what we should pay, we're paying way more for our utilities because of his foolishness, his left-wing silliness. Unreal. All right, our friend who helps out, and I remember this, Grasshopper Lawns. They lime over 50 acres at Arlington Cemetery each year for 29 consecutive years. They donate it to that hallowed ground. Thank you, Grasshopper Lawns. Amazing. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave all in a lather, but it's craziness, this level of incompetence. And then I will tell you, though, the good things that are happening is that she's being exposed for traveling all over the country to raise money and meet with her left-wing lunatic allies. While Rob Bresnahan is home, not only doing an incredible job, and I've said this to you before, I've studied Congress for 50 years now. I worked on Capitol Hill. for a congressman. I've never seen a freshman have the level of impact he has had. It's been remarkable. So here and at home, and all of the unions are lining up to support a Republican because he gets it done. He knows what he's doing, and he gives a spit about them. They're not just votes to be used. They're groups whose strength you harness to make the area better. That's what construction unions can do. Amazing. So, we got to go. There's nothing I could do about that. It's time. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow morning at 9. But for now, as the Eagles drone on, I've got to gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. The Sue Henry Show next. The Rob O'Donnell Show after that. But my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's noon. So we must gavel to a close. Have a great afternoon, guys.